review video. This time I think we have 6 or 7-ish cards to go over, so let's get started. First, we are starting with a Warlock Legendary. We now have both Warlock Legendaries, and this Legendary is a 8 mana 5/7 demon with a continuous effect of whenever you draw a minion, summon a copy of it with Rush, but it dies at the end of the turn. This is called Fell Lord Betrug. I like the name, it's cool. I also like the art on this one. It's a little more sophisticated than normal. He's got a big battle axe and everything. Yeah, this is a pretty interesting effect. I like it. It synergizes with your hero power because you can tap the turn. Also, it has Rush. The thing is, Ben, you tell me if I'm wrong, I don't really think there's that many ways to draw cards besides your hero power. I'm excited to see what type of combos and effects that people are going to try to put together when combining with this card. I do want to say it is 8 mana for a 5/7, which is real bad. I don't know how good that's going to stay on the board. It's only got 7 health. I wish this was a little bit cheaper, so then, you know, you can maybe do some more stuff in a turn. Will it be a good card? I don't really think so, just because it's too slow, but it'll probably create some fun highlight reels in the first week of people trying out weird stuff with it, but I don't think it's going to make its way into competitive Hearthstone because of its inconsistency to stay on the board. I'm going to say 3 stars. This is really interesting, really cool, but I don't think it has enough sticking power for this to make any sort of impact in Warlock, where the only card draw you have is your hero power. The next card is very reminiscent of another card that we well know and love, maybe. It is a 4 mana 3/8 mech, which, holy shit, that's a lot of health for a 4 mana card. And it's a rare. It has Taunt Battlecry. Your opponent summons a minion from their deck. This is very reminiscent of Dirty Rat, and this card is called Hecklebot, and he's kind of cute. He's kind of adorable. He's kind of got a little bit of a weird charm to him. Ben, do you want to explain to them how this is like strictly different than Dirty Rat? Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people use Dirty Rat to try and stop their opponent's combo OTKs by fishing out some of their combo pieces. With this, instead of taking it from the hand, it takes it from the deck. So you have a lot more cards in their deck than there is in their hand, first of all. Second of all, they might want to keep combo pieces in their hand, knowing that you could play Hecklebot as a counter to that. That immediately reduces its ability to pull stuff from the deck. Also, if you draw this late game, it's not very good because there's less cards in the deck and they've probably accumulated a lot of combo pieces from their deck as well into their hand. That's definitely a really good point, Ben. By the time, if you draw this late game, then they probably already have most of the combo pieces in your hand, but you do have a higher percentage of grabbing something important from the deck because the deck is smaller, but it's most likely already accumulated in their hand. But if you play this on curve on turn 4, there's so many cards in the deck that you probably have you do have a really low probability of actually grabbing something that you want out of their deck. There's very highlight reel situations that I can definitely see this happening in, where you drop this on turn 4 and it pulls out their Mechathune, and then their Mechathune is on the board and you can just kill it and make their combo OTK Mechathune deck just break. Then you'll get onto YouTube and Reddit, and good for you, but that's very, very inconsistent and probably will not make it into the competitive Hearthstone arena. I just think that this card, for what it is, which is a Dirty Rat clone, it's important for it to exist, to have those counters to these OTKs, but I think this is a pretty lackluster and weak counter to those decks. And I'm going to say 2 stars because For what it's supposed to do, I don't think it's going to do it very well. It does have a lot of stats for a 4-mana card, and it does have the mech attached to it, which can boost it a little bit, but you're basically playing a 4-drop, 3/8 vanilla mech if you're not caring about the battle cry, and there's just better stuff to play that has better abilities, that has the mech attached to it already as well. So I don't know, 2 stars. I think this card is going to fall short. The next card we are going to see is pretty cool. It is an 8-mana 4/8 elemental in the Shaman class at the common slot called Walking Fountain. And when I look at the art, I don't really think this is a fountain. I could be looking at it wrong, but it just looks like a bunch of rocks with a head and like a mane. But whatever, we're going to move on. It has Lifesteal, Rush, and Wind Fury. Holy Jesus, dude, that's really good. That is a solid ass common. If you think of Ziliax is a 5-mana 3/2 that heals you for 6 because of the Divine Shield, so it will most likely survive for 2 attacks. This has the Rush and the Wind Fury attached to it as well, so you immediately can gain that 8 health, and it has a lot of health itself, so it might have residual staying power. I believe we are losing Earthen Might, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. Michael, in post, you can, figure that out. Thanks, just give me more work to do in the editing dungeon. I appreciate it past me. But if Earthen Might isn't rotating, it's not. It came out in the Witchwood, so it'll still be in standard. This then turns into a 10-mana 6/10 with Lifesteal, Rush, and Wind Fury, which is crazy. This is a solid common. Will we want to play it for 8 mana? I don't really know. Probably, just because this seems like a really powerful card, and it has the elemental attached to it. So there's synergy with that, with Kalamos and other situational shaman elemental stuff that we usually see. So I think that this card is definitely going to see some play. It's not going to be like meta defining, or it's not going to be, overpowered, and you're not going to see it all the time, but definitely when you do see it, you're going to get scared because that's a big swing. So I'm going to give this card 3 stars. I like it. It's going to be good, and when you see it get dropped on turn 8 and clears your board and gains a shit ton of health, you're not going to be sad, or you are going to be sad if this is played against you, and if you're not going to be sad if you're the one playing it. Ben, you want to take this one? Because what the fuck is that? Like, oh my god. Okay, this is a 5-mana 4/4 epic minion in the Shaman class, and it is called Muck Morpher, and its battle cry states, transform into a 4/4 copy of a different minion in your deck. This could be really interesting for sure. If you look at the card that we just looked at beforehand, the 8-mana 4/8 Wind Fury, Lifesteal, and Rush, then this could turn into a 4/4 Lifesteal, Wind Fury, Rush card, which again, that's a pretty big swing for 5 mana. What else can you grab, Ben? Well, you can think of this 2 ways. You can think of this like getting a weaker version of a high-costed card for the effect, which is pretty interesting. But if you go like the opposite direction, you could go the other way and say that you could really boost the power of some lower-costed minions in a zoo deck sort of situation. I can't think of a whole bunch off the top of my head. Having a 4/4 with Death Rattle is really good when it was originally like a 2-mana 1/1 with a Death Rattle or something like that. You can really just boost lower costed minions to make them better with their effects still, or you can make weaker versions of bigger things because it is right dead in the middle. So this could be played at the top of the zoo curve or the middle of a mid-range or control shaman deck, which could definitely be interesting. So I'm really curious to see how this card plays out. I am really interested as well. Like Ben said, this is dead smack in the middle, so this could be top end of a zoo and make the zoo stuff stronger, or this could be a mid-range card in a mid-ranged or control deck to make some of the big stuff weaker. Really could go either way, but I'm interested. It's a cool effect. Again, grabbing stuff from the deck like the Hecklebot, so there is a higher variable to that than, say, like your hand, but still, I think this is a pretty cool card. I'm gonna say 3 stars. Again, cool effect, new effect, something different. So we have another legendary card. This is the legendary for Paladin. I believe this is the first legendary that we have seen for Paladin, and it is a 4 mana 4/3 minion, and it is called Commander Risa. And the art on her is really, really cool, in my opinion. She's like on some sort of like mechanical ostrich, which is, you know, cool, and she's got some thing in her hand. She looks like a commander. And her effect is secrets trigger twice, very similar to Brand's Brawnbeard, where battle cries trigger twice. This has to like survive a turn and then move on. I'm immediately thinking of stuff of like getting a double eye for an eye, or getting 2 of the 1/2 minions, or if your opponent plays into a hidden secrets, then they can get 4 instead of 2 cards off of that. This isn't fantastic when it comes to stuff like automatic defense matrix, which you can't give 2 divine shields, so stuff like that will fall a little bit short. But I think this is a very solid card to put into a secret paladin deck. We are probably going to see a lot more of secret paladin with some of the other cards that we already saw. Oh wow, I forgot that there is the new secret that gives your minions +2. If you have this card on the board, you can get +4 to all of your minions, which makes her survive longer, first of all, to have your secrets to continue to trigger twice. But you could also, you know, just have the rest of your board to get bigger and healthier and stronger. I've already talked about that card, so everything that that card does, you could do it twice now. Ben, what do you think? I agree with you. This is definitely a very, very strong card. My only concern is that it's definitely going to want to be immediately removed. So I don't know if this is going to be able to survive to be able to trigger those secrets. Hopefully, if your opponent is smart enough and if your opponent is in a high level of play, I don't think and I don't know if your opponent will let this live long enough to actually get secrets to trigger twice. So this could potentially have a pseudo taunt, and that could cause an issue for that card. I agree, this is definitely easily play aroundable. It dies to single target removal. It only has 3 health, so it dies to a lot of AoE stuff and mage. So that's a little bit of an issue, you're definitely right. And if your opponent is a high level of play, like Ben said, they're probably going to try to play around that. I think that this is a very good card on paper, and it's a very good design, in my opinion, going with some of the secret synergy stuff in Paladin that we've already seen. So I applaud them for the design, but I think Hearthstone players at a high level are smart enough to realize that they have to get rid of this card before they trigger any of the secrets. But if you're in a situation where you can't really play around this with single target removal or AoE removal and you have to attack into it to remove it, I think that's going to be good for this card. A lot of the Paladin secrets are like when something attacks and that kind of thing. So easily play aroundable, which is unfortunate against decks that want to swing in to your opponent's board and not use spells to remove your opponent's minions. Then I think this will be good. So we have to see how the meta shapes out and what kind of decks are being played. If there's a lot of minion-based decks and a lot of attacking-based decks, then this could probably see a little bit of play. But if there is a lot of hard removal in the meta, then I don't think that this card will see play because they will just remove her. She will just get killed immediately and you will not get her residual double secret effect, which is a good point, so I'm glad you brought it up, Ben. Yeah, no problem. That being said, it's a cool design, it's a powerful effect, but will you get the effect off? I don't think you will be able to consistently, so I'm going to give this card 3 stars. Good try, Blizzard, good try. I do commend you on this one. The next card is a 1 mana mage spell at the common slot, and it is a twin spell. The new mechanic for the good guys is popping up. It is called Ray of Frost, and it states freeze a minion if the minion is already frozen to deal 2 damage to it. That frozen sort of synergy, we've seen cards like this before. Obviously, freezing things is what mage always comes back to sometimes, you know. The more significant portion of this card is the twin spell, and it costs it costs 1 mana. So you can definitely play this multiple times in a turn. So for 2 mana, deal 2 damage is interesting for sure, and probably not very good, but you do have to keep in mind that it freezes stuff, so you could stall your opponent's minions a little bit to try to stabilize. You can Frost Nova and try to ping stuff down with this card as well. You can Blizzard and try to finish off a minion that has 3 or 4 health, so you Blizzard and then you Ray of Frost, they're already frozen, and you deal that 2 damage and you get another one back. I think this card is very flexible and very versatile and a pretty good design for a common. Ben, do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think this is definitely the best twin spell that we've seen so far. We've only seen a couple of them, and I think this is definitely the best, most flexible, and most usable out of all of them. And Mage definitely needs a little bit of help now that Big Mage is not as good because Dragon Caller Alana is rotating. They're rotating Baku, so Odd Mage isn't going to be a thing with stuff like Jan'alai the Dragonhawk. Maybe going back to just good old standard hardcore control mage with freezing abilities, you know, just good old fashioned mage play.
I agree. Definitely Mage is taking a little bit of a hit with Dragon Caller Alana rotating, as well as the Odd Mage not being able to be played anymore in standard with Baku rotating. So definitely is a good addition to just be able to play that hardcore mage control, freezing minions style deck with the Blizzards and the Frost Bolts and the Ice Novas with the Flame Strikes and all of that kind of stuff. So this definitely adds to that classic mage sort of package, which I think is pretty cool. It's not crazy, it's not super bonkers or anything, but as a common, it's pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and give this 2 stars. I like it, and I hope it sees play in a control mage list. So the last card I'm going to talk about today is a 2 mana epic minion. It's a 2/2 elemental in the mage class, and its battle cry is for each spell that you have cast this turn, add a random mage spell to your hand, and this is like a mage Edwin, and that is pretty cool. Again, going back to the previous card, it has twin spell and it is super cheap, so that is great and fantastic. So that means that you can double twin spell and then play this, then immediately get 2 random mage spells to your hand. Mage spells are probably the best spells in the entire game. Class-wise, Mage definitely just has the highest saturation of good spells. Flavorfully and lore-wise obviously makes sense, but I think this card is going to be really cool and really fun to play. It's going to feel really bad to play on curve, unfortunately, because, you know, you won't be able to play a whole lot of stuff, but it's obviously not the point. There's obviously an interesting push to add random mage spells to your hand with the new tome that was added, and with this card and Nova Blast as well. This could be fun and this could be interesting, giving something like a control mage list more resources in the hand. But I think this card is really cool. A mage version of Edwin. This should be played, in my opinion. So I'm going to give this card 3 stars. This is good. This is good. It is relevant that it does have the elemental synergy attached to it as well, which is sometimes prevalent in the mage class, obviously. Do you agree with me, Ben?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you really said everything that needs to be said. Elemental, kind of like Edwin. You get random spells. There's just more value-based stuff. Like we've seen in this set so far, a lot of this set is value-based cards, which is a real refresher to the aggro style play that we've been seeing for a while. So I really hope this card and the rest of the cards that are value-based really change the play style of Hearthstone.
I agree with you 100%. I was an aggro player for a very long time, and even I'm tired of playing aggro stuff. And with this set, this card as an example, there's a lot of value-based cards, and I like that. And hopefully, you know, this card and other cards and cards to come hopefully continue on that value-based play style, which is way more fun and way more interactive than the Hearthstone we're playing right now. So yeah, but again, 3 stars. So that is the last card, like I said. So please, if you enjoy, leave a like down below, hit the subscribe button and turn on notification. I will be posting lots of card review videos as these cards are released. Probably one a day, maybe 2 a day, just in case I miss one. These take a little bit to edit because I put effort into them and I have school going on as well, so please do forgive me. I'm overloading the channel with these, sometimes like 2 or 3 videos a day with my normal content plus this content. So if you like Hearthstone and you like games, definitely hit that subscribe button to notify yourself when I post. Also, I want you to comment down below because I want to know what you guys think about these cards, or come over to the Discord and talk to me in the Hearthstone Discord channel about these cards in the set. Discord link down in the description, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I post on there when I'm about to go live because I also live stream Hearthstone, Pokemon, Five Nights at Freddy's, Magic the Gathering, and a bunch of other games, so check me out there as well. If you want to support me monetarily, I would super appreciate it. If you want to support me monetarily, I would super appreciate that. I have merch that you can get down in the description, Redbubble link in there, and I also have a Patreon that you can subscribe to, or you can become a Patreon, and I would super appreciate that as well. And while I am streaming, I do have stream tips up and running, so you can tip me via Stream Elements if you feel so inclined. But don't feel inclined to do any of that if you don't have the money to. Coming back and watching the videos is good enough for me. With that being said, Michael from StevensvilleGamers is going to be signing off now, so keep the oh yeah spirit with you. 1, 2, 3, oh yeah. Bye.